you're well familiar with your state. Your campaign put out a statement, an email that said basically the people at January 6th who stormed the Capitol were stripped of their constitutional liberties. They were, quote, activists. You retracted it, but then you hired a Republican operative who's lied about January 6th, called it democratic misdirection. We are talking about whether there are rules and nonviolence enforced in our country or not. And that was a violent storming of the Capitol. Can you unequivocally condemn that, or do you leave us all out here because of whatever your reasons, whether you think that's part of the voting bloc or something else?
Look, January 6th was a terrible time in our history, a terrible day. People committed terrible crimes. They committed violence against police officers. They broke into the Capitol. They stormed the Capitol. They committed other crimes, and a lot of people are in jail, and they should be. So I condemn that, but I'm not going to campaign based upon drumming up or amplifying people's hatred towards each other. I think we need to start figuring out a way to find common ground.
Sure, but you condemn that, and Donald Trump would be he would be wrong to then pardon it. If you condemn it, he'd be wrong to pardon it, right?
Sure, but what you do and what you do when you're sitting in this chair every night is your job is to inflame that. And my job is to de-escalate.
I don't feel inflamed at all.
You don't feel, I know, but that's what you're doing.
No, and I didn't.
That's how you keep eyeballs on your site, and, by feeding into the vitriol, and Fox does it on their side.
You're welcome to your view, and you're welcome to your media criticism, and you're welcome to compare this long-running interview with Fox, but I don't think you're going to find this on Fox the same way.
Let me just say this. First of all, this is the first interview that I've done forever with MSNBC, and I'm very grateful to you for giving me the chance to talk. I also welcome these kind of questions, so don't misunderstand me. You're pushing at me, I'm pushing back at you. I don't feel any kind of antagonism from you. I think that you're doing your job. I do think that part of your job is to inflame the public with anger and outrage and indignation toward President Trump. Over at Fox, they think their job is to do the same thing on President Biden. So you have two cohorts of people in this country that are relatively even. And that's what they're hearing every night.
And you bring that up, and
let me just finish. I don't disagree with the things you're saying. I'm just not going to participate in it. That's all. I'm not disagreeing with you.
But there is a theme here of what many people see as a false equivalence, and we could go through all that.
But I didn't say that there's a moral equivalence. All I said is both of them did things that were wrong for our country.
Okay, so to go back to the question,
and both of them attacked the Constitution.
But to button up the question, because you condemn January 6th, then Donald Trump, who you're running against, you would disagree with his talk of pardoning the convicted seditionists and people who trespassed and stormed the Capitol.
Listen, I would, in terms of pardoning people, I'm going to use the pardon power. I don't know who I'm going to use. I'm an attorney. I'm going to look at every case that's brought before me and make a decision on it. I'm not going to.
But as a general, I'm not trying.
You're trying to say in advance who I'm going to pardon, who I'm not going to pardon. I'm not issuing a general pardon to any category of people.
So when you look at his talk, which is doing that, he talks about taking the convicts from January 6th.
You're trying to get me to condemn him again on these
I'm asking you about your views. You're running for president. It's a big job. And I'm asking you, would you be open to those kind of pardons or not?
Here's my views. We have the worst inflation in a generation. We're embroiled in a war that we should have never got involved with in Ukraine. President Trump said he was going to end that war.
Right, but the question is about those pardons. Would you be open to that or not?
What do you mean? Listen, I'm an attorney.
Yeah.
I was a prosecutor. You were, I think, a legal aid attorney. I was a prosecutor. I would never say in advance of running for political office who I'm going to pardon and who
but that's what he's doing, and you're running against him. And I'm asking you as a journalist where you stand on
their
that.
Case. I'm not going to do that.
So that will sound to people like you're leaving that door open. You don't need to. Do you want to leave that door open? I'm surprised
I'm not going to leave
your
it
answer.
open or closed. I'm not answering it until I look at people's cases.